Welcome back to the best podcast in the world. You're back again to the Chidera Onoha podcast, and you have me, your host, the Chidera Onoha Chidera, aka Star Girl Chi. And I'm so happy to have you guys back here. I hope your week went well. I hope you guys enjoyed the last episode. Even when I dedicated it specially for my girlies, I hope my guys on here still enjoyed it regardless. So that's how I was trying to check the statistics from my former episode, and then I was thinking I made a special episode for my girls for International Women's Day, and they'll probably be topping my chart. They'll probably be the statistics will show that more females listen more than males, but to my greatest surprise, my guys are still faithful. My guys are still above. Wow, I was like, wow, are you serious? Are you serious? My guys are faithful, and I really, really appreciate. So welcome back to another episode, and we're about to eat good. So come. So guys, let's get right into the episode. So I know you all already know what we're going to be talking about in this episode, because from the launch day, I've been screaming in your face that don't worry, I'm going to give you, the whole backstory, nitty gritty and all that concerning the journey to this podcast. Well, finally, that episode is upon us, and that's what we're going to be talking about. So wherever you are now, probably you're listening with a speaker, just increase the volume a bit, or you're plugged to your headphones, just increase the volume a bit, and calm down, sit back, and enjoy the story, the journey, the story to the journey, enjoy the story to the journey, yeah, enjoy my story, Sha. So yeah, it all started when I was younger. So I had this liking to radio, listening to radio when I was going to school, primary school. Yeah, primary school. I just liked it. I just radio. I just like the whole concept regarding it. So there are times I just maybe envisioned that probably one day I'll have something like this, but that's not where it all started. So let's go back to when I was in secondary school. When I was in secondary school, my love for extracurricular was was too much. You all should go and ask about me when I was in secondary school. So I really loved anything extracurricular. So I was really in, not everything, but I was really in press club. I just loved anything, debate, anything that allowed me hold the mic, and talk. I just really liked it. It just used to make me happy. It just used to give me joy. When I was in secondary school, it just used to give me joy. So I had a teacher that knew that Chidera likes all these media things. I just liked all this media stuff. If it's time to read this, the assembly, I'm your girl. Everywhere, it's just me. Anywhere that is mine, just call me Sha. I'll just smile, I'll just do it. She gets. So I'm still that girl till now, but it all started at secondary school. That's where it started. So I had a teacher that had a radio show on Rainbow FM as at that time. The name of the show was School Plus. So she comes to me and she's like, Chidera, you like to be a guest this Saturday on my radio show? And I'm like, yes, ma, obviously. And she was like, yeah, I knew you'd be interested, so I want you to come along with your friends. So that time was Chinaya that went with me. Shout out to Chinaya, guys. So two of us went together. You guys I cannot express my excitement. I was so happy. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to be on radio. Everybody's going to listen to me. You needed to see me. I was so happy. And I think the topic then was living life as a secondary school student, the challenges. So you see me that forming questions a night before. I was already even making up the questions that she might ask me and questions I'll answer. So I already had if they asked this, what I'll say. I prepared. I told everybody, I told my mom, I told my dad that they should go and tell their brothers and their sisters. They should tell the world that their daughter is going to be on air on Saturday. I really saw that thing as a big opportunity. I'm like, this could be the limelight from this could be me reaching the wall. I don't even know what's happening, but I can't forget that day. I was really excited. So basically, that whole thing, going for the whole show, like I just put it I just loved like the whole everything. Like I loved the whole experience. And then I just wrote it somewhere in my Chidera's in my book. Everything Chidera wants to do before she dies, start a radio show. So that's how it started. As time went on, I actually tried to like implement. So in the university I went to, we had a radio show, Hope 89.1 FM. So when I noticed that there was a radio show there, I was like, okay, let me actually, I went there. I kind of did like an intern there. Not like serious intern, but just like, I just went there from time to time. That time I had Miss Esther. I told her that, I would love to have a radio show and all that. And then she just like put me through, even when I was even when I was far away from like the course and everything, she still took me in. Basically, she still took me in, and she was really nice, and also she still took me in, and she just started putting me through like the radio industry in Nigeria and all that. So it was really good. At least I got to see some shows. And that time I used to go with Phoebe. So there was even a time that where I was even recording, like all that. So I thought everything was going great until one this man called me, and she's like, honestly, if she wants to be very honest with me, if I want to actually be heard, I want to actually have a show and I want to be heard, that I should consider starting a podcast. And back then, this was in 2019, podcasts were not 2018, 2019 that time. I think it was 2019. Podcasts were not really like an in thing, especially in Nigeria, probably abroad, but in Nigeria it wasn't something people did. So I was like okay. So I just took her advice. I went and I researched about it. This is a podcast. I was like, okay. I watched YouTube videos. Like, oh wow, that's nice. So I came back to her telling her, oh wow, that's so good. That I'll consider it. I'll just make sure I like put it all over. Make sure people know about it. People listen and stuff. So I was all happy that I'm going to set a podcast, have a name and everything. At that time I had a name. I was meant to like use my radio show name for it and all. So that's how I started telling some of my friends about it, and they're like, podcast, what? Like they didn't really know about it, and they're like, they don't know if I should do something that people are not aware of. So it's not be like I'm putting in my efforts into something people do not know of as at that time. And then I kind of like saw a bit of sense to it, because the whole point was me having a radio show, and I felt like me having a radio show like would be so rewarding. I can just tell people, tune in to me, even when people don't even listen to radio, but I could just say, tune in to me on this particular time, and then you see me there. People like, I have a radio show, but podcast, like, what is even a podcast? Like, it's something they didn't know. So I kind of like just stopped, like deadened the whole thing to an extent. So now podcast became like a really in thing from 2022 to 2023. Like people were really having podcasts, and okay, now you can actually start. Now there's an in thing, but then I was not like, I don't start back then. If I started back then, it should have been like game shaker. I said there's a game shaker, I mean game changer, like game changer and everything. How is this girl coming up? So I felt like back then I'd have stood out, but now I've wasted time and waited for people to start before me. I just felt like it's just going to be one of those. It's not going to be unique. So I felt like, let me just leave it. At the end of the day, people still watch YouTube and be more than they listen to podcasts. So I was like, okay, probably I'll do YouTube instead. So, and the funny thing is that I really engaged in a lot of podcasts. I tried my best to work with a hard podcast. And each time I listened, I just felt like I could do this. Like, I just felt like, Chidera, you can do this. Why are you studying? And I'll be like, I beg. I'll just give myself one excuse or the other. Do you get? And I still felt like people would. I just focused on like visual content, like videos where people could actually see me. Do you understand? That way I'm just talking, and then people would want to listen or something like that. So so that was it. So it was a whole back and forth in my mind. Some of my friends would bring up the idea, how far now? I'll be saying something about a podcast. You can start now, and then I'll be like, no, now, like I'm not something. I'll just bring up one excuse or the other. So I fully made up my mind last year, thank God. And yeah, that was it. That's like the whole journey. It was just more of like me not. It was just more of like me just making different excuses. Honestly, I was just making different excuses until it just hit me last year. I won't necessarily say, oh, God said, or it just hit me last year that I genuinely need to do everything I need to do. Like, I genuinely need to do it. Like, I just need to do it. Like, I'll regret it if I didn't try. So I reached that point, and last year I told myself, Chidera, we're starting this podcast. So that's like a little background story on the journey to this podcast. But I promise you guys, this episode is not about me. It's actually about you. I just did the whole backstory because, you all asked for it. And I know some people are saying, when did you ask for it? But I know you wanted to hear, I know I gave you what you wanted. So, I know some of us might see themselves in my story, and not necessarily with the whole podcasting thing, in every other sphere of life. So it's only normal for human beings to want to be part of something that's moving. It's only normal for people not want to take so much risk and just do something that is already moving. Like, everybody can go into let's say tech now, because people have seen that tech is really lucrative and people are like, really making a lot of money from tech. So people can freely, go into tech. So everybody wants to be part of something that they are seeing results. Nobody wants to come and be, growing on the job, honestly. If I'm being honest, people want to see that, people have done this, they've gone ahead, they've done this, and they can also even do better than them. Nobody wants to start something. Like, do you get when they don't even know if it's going to be move or if it's going to move or something like that. So take for example now content creation. Content creation is something everybody's going into it like wildfire. And funny how before people just posted pictures on Instagram, posted pictures on TikTok, you can't post pictures on TikTok, but post pictures on Instagram, Twitter, just for fun. Nobody even wanted it, just to post, when you go out, update your friends that you went out. Nobody really wanted to do content creation, but now everybody is going to content creation because they've seen benefit. They've seen the benefits people, are getting from it, and that was because someone actually went ahead, and started it, and then they found that content creation is actually, in the moving train in these days, and everybody's just jumping on it. So nobody wants to be the starter. Nobody wants to be the person to start, even when deep within yourself that this calling is for you. You just know that this is what that, when God lays something in your heart, or you just know that you can do this thing, but you're kind of scared. You don't want to go into it because you don't know if it's the part of the moving train. And I feel like that's exactly my story. That's exactly what happened to me. So take, for example, Ibuku Ajagbe. That's the famous IB Quick, the spectacular IB Quick. So IB Quick is a spoken word artist. I don't know if everyone knows her, but most people should know IB Quick. She's a very, very popular spoken word artist in Nigeria. So IB Quick started spoken words when spoken words was not even famous. She started it, and it wasn't in an in thing. Nobody really knew what it is, but she started it and she started performing small. I think she has been in the industry for 10 years, and she's kind of having her limelight from last 2023 or 2022, one of them, and she's doing so well. And because of IB Quick, a lot of people want to do spoken word poetry. So I recently attended an event, in my opinion, by IB Quick, and she's inspiring people to start doing spoken word. For someone and maybe she had few people to look up to, but I'm sure the few people she looked up to were not so famous the way she's now, making it a trend. Do you get? So what if you are the game changer? What if it all starts with you? What if that something great, something good, you start a trend, you're the one to put people, You're the one to make people. You're the one to make this thing the moving train, and people want to hop on it. Do you understand? Even take, for example, like the famous business of crocheting. Like, I remember crocheting to be what old women do. Like, I don't know. I think there's a difference between crocheting and knitting, but regardless, it's what old women did. Like, when they're old and, they're trying to, like, when you're old, you're trying to, like, look for things to do. And they just sat on their chair and they used to knit. I don't know who exactly started it, but right now, it's a big selling business. Like, people that are into a crochet artist now make so much money. So, this is just to say that everything that is famous now wasn't famous before. And these are because people have gone ahead to put that out there. People have gone ahead to make it move. And then everybody wants to hop on it. What if that idea you have, probably a business idea in selling something like, I don't know, a business idea in selling something like hangers. I'm just giving an example, or cups. And you feel like, oh, nah, how can I be selling hanger? Nobody will buy it. What is it? How can I be selling hanger? God forbid, like, is it even moving? But you just feel like you can do it. And maybe you brand it in such a good way. You sell the best hangers, you make different color tags. I don't know, you just make it so unique. And then people fall in love with people fall in love with your brand. And because of your hanger brand, people start having their hanger brand. Okay, let me say something practical now, like maybe cups or mugs. And you're like, who will buy mugs? But the way you just brand it, maybe you just call it Timmy's, mug world. And then you just make it so unique. And then it's moving. People love the design. People love the brand. And then they patronize you. And then other people start mug brands because of you. Honestly, like, I think, like, we should actually try to be brave enough to go into what it is that God has called us to do. Like, you just need to research. You just need to do your research so you'll be, like, at the top of the game. Do you understand? So you can actually, like, stand out in what you're doing. Okay, I know somebody who was in the tech space. Like, she studied computer science. And I know, like, right now, if you study computer science, software engineering, there's this tendency to be a coder. Like, everybody feels like you can make codes and everything. And then this girl is just an artistic girlie who is really in love with she's just an artist, so she could do something like product design. Back then, people would shout and say, how can you be doing product design? Like, that's like low aim in, like, the tech space. Like, people are coding. Like, I know people that will say, oh my God, they'll tell her, oh my God, how can she be aiming for something like product design? That's low aim. They'll call your dream low aim because they feel like nothing can come out of it. Because they've seen people have, people are so streamlined. They just want you to do what others have done because they know that is what's moving. Nobody is brave enough nobody's audacious enough, to do something different. Everybody wants to do, what is already there. But what if you're the person to put this stuff on the moving train? I think I'm going to name this episode The Moving Train. What if you're the person to put people on the moving train? Like, honestly, when we need to actually think about these things. We need to actually, like, think about these things. Like, it is in your heart for a reason. It is placed in your heart for a reason. Why you think about it sometimes, even if you've not necessarily acted on it, it's there for a reason. Maybe it's there because people need it in this world, and you're the one to bring it to life. So in times like that, when you feel like you have a big dream, or you have a dream that you feel like might not be lucrative, you talk to the person who put the dream in you. That's God. Because honestly, I would have said talk to a few friends. Okay, let me do step by step. Try to talk to God first, because most times your friends, they have your best interest. Your friends love you. They want you to do what will be best for you. So they might give you advice like, nah, that your idea is trash. Go and do something everybody's doing. So that's why you need to talk to the person that puts the dream in your heart. That is God. Talk to God about it. Talk to God about it. And I'm not necessarily saying you need to hear a loud voice to go, but if there's this conviction, if there's this thing, you just feel like, yes, you should do this. You should actually do it. You should actually do it. And the funny thing is that you may be the person to put it on the moving train. Things like content creation, spoken word poetry, crocheting might just be originated, might just be a big thing from you. you might just make this a big thing because you decided to act on what you felt, if that makes sense. So don't completely dismiss those ideas in your head, because that could be what the world actually needs, and you could be starting a very big revolution. So that's the lesson for today from all this. Basically, stay to your true calling, because you might just be the person to put it on the moving train. Talk to God about it, pray about it really well, research about it, just try and research about it, go put in your all, because you can't do something haphazardly and expect the result to be mad, and then you're like, that's why I was even feeling like this does not make sense. Honestly, if you want something to move, you have to put in the work, and that's researching a lot about it, trying your best to go further. You can't just say, oh, because I heard that I need to be brave enough to start something, and then you start the hanger business and you're just selling random hangers. Obviously, you move. You have to be creative. You have to make it stand out for people to be like, you have to do things. You just have to be creative about it to make it stand out. So yes, guys, what are you putting on the moving train today? What is that thing that God has laid in your heart, and you just feel you just think about it? Comes to your mind sometimes, but then you just dead the idea. What is that thing? You could be the person to put it on the moving train. Yeah. And I want to be brave enough to put people on the moving train. I don't want to chicken out just because I feel like no one has done it before and the path might be hard. I want to be that person. So this episode is kind of like a reminder to myself, and it should also be a reminder to you. Product design, spoken word, crocheting, content creation are big things now. All because somebody decided to follow through with their calling. Yes, guys, so that's the episode for today. I feel like I just motivated myself. Yes, I feel like I'm going to listen to this over and over again to remind myself of these things. And I think you should too. And you should also put your friends on and all. So guys, we finally come to the end of this episode, and I just hope I left you with something to think about. I hope I left you with something, to ponder on wholeheartedly, really ponder on. And I hope above all you take action. I hope above all I also take action, because I feel like I'm advising myself. You guys, look guys, this is not even me. This is not even, I know it's me advising, but genuinely, I think I also need to advise myself. So yeah, I hope you learned one or two from this episode. You already know the drill. Put your friends on, put everybody on. Tell them to listen and rate the Chidera on her podcast. You guys, it's time for you guys to start giving me the 5-star now. And I really, really would love comments and reviews. So please put it on Spotify or any other podcast streaming platform you're using to listen to me speak. Or you could just send me a DM on WhatsApp or my Instagram, my podcast Instagram page. That is the Chidera on her pod. I'm waiting for your reviews. Have the best week ahead, and you see me. We're going to meet again next week, same time, Fridays at 5 p.m. Have the best week, guys. Bye.